Hello, everybody. This is Ina Coveney, your friendly neighborhood salary replacement expert, and we're here to talk about websites. So, as you guys may or may not know, I have been making websites for a really long time. Like, from the moment I learned about HTML from my cousin, hi Daniel, I've been making websites. I remember the first website that I ever built was really for myself. It was a one pager where I had all of my bank accounts and all of my accounts for anything that I did. It was an HTML page with the logo of each account website, and it was my landing page on my browser. I would get there and click on wherever I wanted to go. Now we have, a better bookmark system. Now we have LastPass. Now we have other ways to actually keep track of our accounts. But that's the first site that I made really for myself. And that was back like freshman year of college freshman year of college, I think, that because that's when I started to have bank accounts and everything. And then I volunteered at school. I would go to my professor and I would tell them, hey, let me make your syllabus website for free because, well, I wasn't charging anybody because I was just doing this just to get kind of my hands dirty, just to kind of learn the ropes. And since then, I've been doing it professionally, either working for a company or doing it for myself. I started my side business making websites back in 2011. Anyways, websites are my world. It's what I know. If you give me a website, I can audit the heck out of it and tell you all the things that it's doing wrong in the marketing, all the things that it's doing right, all the things you should keep, all the things you should toss. This is my world. You give me a website, I know what I'm looking at. That's my expertise. That's where I excel. So, as you may know, I have a program. It's called the Be Found program, where I guide new entrepreneurs on identifying who their ideal client is, where their market is, what they're going to offer that market to make sure that they differentiate themselves and they're super, super successful in whatever it is that they do. And we also focus on the website. I teach you everything you need to know about what needs to go on the homepage, what needs to go on the about page, how to make it so that it attracts, it retains traffic, and it converts the traffic to clients, because websites that are made right will do the work for you. All right. So that's what we do in this Be Found program. You also walk away with your freebie, your lead magnet, your way to get people in the door so that you can start interacting with them and you can start to sell your services to them. So this is basically the first 3 months of your business in one bootcamp, in one single package with a coaching component. I'm there to guide you every step of the way and answer your questions specific to your business. This is not a self-paced course that you buy now and then a year later you still haven't opened. This is a program where we walk through this together. So by the end of the 3 months, you're out there making money with your clients and you're putting yourself out there. So that's what the Be Found program is. And it's opening its doors in April for the cohort that starts in May. All right, so we're not ready to take applications yet, but you will hear about it from me in April. So why am I here to talk to you about websites in this particular podcast? Is because I want you to be ready to join that program. And in that program, you're basically learning everything you need to know about your website so you can turn around and hand over the materials to a developer who's going to make it for you. Okay, and I teach you in there, how do you find the developer? How do you know that they're trustworthy? How do you find them, and how do you know how much you should be paying for this? All of that stuff we take care of in the actual program. But I thought it was important for you to know what to expect when you work with someone who's going to make your website, when you work with a third-party vendor who's going to build something for you. Because I've been doing this for a really long time, to great success, to great reviews. And I want to tell you how I managed my business so that when you're out there, when you're in my program and you're assessing people to make your website, you know what to expect, okay? So I wanted to start with a question that is very simple, and everybody asks this question. Do you need a website to start a business? The answer is no. All you need to start a business is clients. That's all you need. Clients will sign up to work with you without having a website up. But the next question is the most important one. Do you need a website in order to be successful? And the answer is yes. There are many people out there who have good businesses without a website, and that seems to work for them. What they're not telling you, because they don't know themselves, is how much business they are losing. Because in the comparison game, when cold traffic comes in, when people hear about you for the first time, they're going to go and compare you to other people and do their due diligence. And they're going to go with the online presence that looks most professional. So anybody out there who tells you, I don't have a website and I'm fine, I don't need one, they have no idea how much business they are losing, because there's no way for them to capture that information because they're not online. There are a lot of people, and they don't know how many, who are trying to find them online and they can't. Therefore, they choose not to work with that person. So I don't want you to be one of those. Because if you're getting help from someone who has a word of mouth business, that's what you're going to hear. So I want you to be an educated consumer in this aspect and realize that, wait, yes, this is working for them, right? They're continuing to get clients, right? For my side business, making websites, I had a website and people went to check it out, but mostly I got my business through word of mouth. So I would have been the first to tell you, well, I don't really need my website. I don't really need to market myself. But how much business would I have lost when people would ask me for my website and I didn't have one, right? I have no idea how many people I would have lost, right? So I don't want you to be in that position, to be that person who's like, I just have a word of mouth business and this works. No, I want you to be the person who is turning away clients. I want you to be the person who gets your pick on what kind of clients you get to work with. You don't just accept any job because you're just happy to have a client. You work with the people that you want, because that's how you manage your business in a way that reduces your stress level from when you were in corporate, because you get to work with whoever you want in whatever projects you want. And you get that ability, that flexibility, that joie de vivre, right? That happiness from your job, that joy that you draw from your job, from your new work, being an entrepreneur, you draw it from the people you work with. So if you're just accepting any job and you think you're fine, then this podcast episode is not for you, and the Be Found program is not for you. The Be Found program is for you, and this episode is for you if you're looking to thrive, to not just coast, to not just do fine. I want to have the kind of clients I want and attract them the right way. That's what you learn in the Be Found program. What are the things that you may be missing because you weren't working with an expert? So, do you need a website to be successful? The answer is yes, by any measure. If you don't have a website, you're not as successful as you could be, period. Okay? But do you need a website to start? No, absolutely not. You can just start getting clients now. Okay? So I don't want you to think that I'm telling everybody that they absolutely need a website. Just get started. Start somewhere. But if you are actually serious about this and getting your business out there, get yourself a website that manages to attract, retain, and convert. And those are principles that I teach in my Be Found program. Okay? So here are, I'm about to tell you what it's like to work with a contractor, somebody who's going to make your site, so that there are no surprises. Okay? So I have 5 pitfalls of working with a developer. And they're not necessarily pitfalls. I guess pitfalls is just a sexy word, right? Like, oh, this is going to be dramatic. No, it's just things that you need to be aware of. Be an educated consumer. So here are the 5 things that you need to know when working with a developer. Item number 1, they can't read your mind. Okay? Part of the process that we walk through in the Be Found program is how you can communicate to the developer what's in your mind without the expertise of that I have, right? The expertise that I've been working on for 15 years of perfecting communication and perfecting learning what the other person wants out of a site. You just have to know that the developer doesn't know what's in your mind. Especially if you're starting out, you may be looking at starting developers, not super professional developers who are going to charge you $5,000 for your website. You're probably looking at people who are going to be charging you maybe $25 an hour, maybe $30 an hour, maybe $50 an hour. That's what you're going to be paying for. And if you're going to be paying those prices, those low prices for somebody, or $15 an hour, you got to understand that they do not have the experience that somebody like me would have to really weed, take the whack at the weed in your brain, right? To find out what it is there. And because you don't have the experience working through the process either, this could be something that could go very, very wrong, of them building something that you are not happy with. So just remember that they can't read your mind. They have to be really experienced, or you have to be experienced with the process like I teach you in the Be Found program, so that you know how to communicate your wants and needs. Number 2, the inexperienced ones are going to take longer than expected, because when we're starting out, and you will feel this the same way, when we're starting out as a developer, or you as a whatever it is you're going to be, you always want to give people the right answer. So if somebody wants a website done in a month and you've never made a website that fast, you're just going to say, okay, we'll cut corners, we'll try this out, and we'll try to make it work. I'm going to tell you right now, that website is not getting done in a month. Okay, so whatever time they tell you, based on their experience, whatever time they tell you, I want you to be the educated consumer who says, okay, in my mind, I'm going to double it. I'm going to give myself a good buffer so that when they go over, there's no bad blood. Because that's also important, guys. You want to have a really good relationship with the developer, so they want to continue working with you, and you want to continue working with them. So if they say it's going to take me a month, in your mind, like with any other construction project, double the amount. Think to yourself, okay, then it's probably going to take 6 weeks to 2 months. Okay? And that's it. Set that expectation for yourself, and don't tell the developer you reset that. Okay? Don't tell them, okay, now you have 2 months, because now they will think, oh, now I really have 4 months. Okay? Don't reset the expectation with them. If they say 1 month, in your head, tell yourself 2 months. Got it. Okay? And when they go over, give them a break. The reason I'm telling you these things is from experience. I ended up building in time in my project plan for the wildcard, which is coming up. Okay, so I was able to deliver websites when I said I was going to deliver them, because I've been doing this for so long that I was able to account for wildcards. Inexperienced people will just continue working and kill themselves to try to get this done by the deadline. They still won't make it. So be the adult in that relationship and say, that's okay, dude, that's fine. In my mind, we still have a month, okay? I'm just teaching you how to deal with this. Number 3, the experienced ones. So suppose that you didn't go with the high school student. Suppose that you didn't go with the graduate student. Suppose you didn't go with the person who's changing careers and hasn't really done a big website project in the past. Suppose that you're dealing with somebody like me who is experienced, all right? Somebody who's experienced, who's going to account for wildcards. If they are planning on going over, they're not going to hide it. They're going to tell you up front, hey, listen, Julie, this thing that you wanted me to do was not included in the scope. And if you want it in the scope, this is how it's going to affect the budget, and this is how it's going to affect the timeline. Please approve that so that we can get back to work. All right? So an experienced person will communicate with you when they feel like the requirements there's scope creep, right? When they feel the requirements were not ironed out well enough at the time, and it's time to readjust. They will work with you on that. So I want you as the educated consumer to expect this, which brings me to point number 4, which is the wild card. You guys want to know what the wild card is in these projects? You are. The developer has no idea what your experience is in this type of project. They have no idea how many things they need to bring up that to them seem obvious, but to you weren't. So there isn't one way to account for everything that every single person could think about, every customer has in their mind. It's impossible. The experienced ones, like me, will know how to manage it and how to manage client expectations and know how to manage the budget and know how to manage a timeline. The inexperienced ones are just going to be thrown for a loop whenever something new comes up, because they were not able to anticipate that you actually wanted a carousel, right? A slider instead of a single image in the front. And that wasn't discussed because in the mind of the developer, that was just an obvious answer. And in your mind, it was an obvious answer too. So it takes a really experienced person to understand where these gaps are and to close them as quickly as possible. But you should expect that the developer is going to consider you a wild card, and that the timeline and the budget will highly depend on you, on how many changes you're going to want after the scope is closed, on how many things you're going to want them to adjust, tweak here and there, that to you don't seem like a big deal, but in the developer's mind, they add up in terms of time. In fact, the inexperienced developers will end up just eating that cost. You guys have any idea how many websites I made for $500 when really it should have been a $3,000 website? Because I was inexperienced and I didn't know how to go back to the customer and tell them, you need to approve this increase in budget. I didn't know how to do that. So be aware of this, that the more you ask for, the more tiny changes you ask for, the more inexperienced people are going to react one way and the more experienced people are going to react a different way. Inexperienced, expect them to eat the cost, to be very fearful, to hide from you, to run away, to say like, oh my God, I'm running out of time and I'm not even getting paid for this time. And get the experienced people to say, you want that? We're going to add that at the end if we have time and you are going to approve it. Okay? That's how you're dealing with those personalities. Projects are not simple. All right? Making a website is not simple, especially because you have an idea in your mind that is impossible to take a picture of it in your mind and send it to the developer. Okay? That's not how design works. We're all working under physical constraints here, constraints of the physical world. All right? So my goal is to educate you as the consumer so you expect these things and maybe mitigate for them. Here's point number 5. That I think is really, really important for you to know. Just because someone knows how to build a website, it doesn't mean that they know what the marketing items should be on the website to make it attract, retain, and convert. They won't know. Being a developer does not equal being a marketing expert. All right? I happen to be both. I happen to be able to provide that expertise to my clients. So in the Be Found program, I'm going to walk you through all the marketing essentials that you need to know and set up for your website so that you're ready to turn around and give it to a developer who doesn't know anything about marketing so that you can become that expert and you can guide the developer on how to build a site that will attract, retain, convert. All right, that goes through that ARC framework. All right, attract, retain, convert, ARC. So here's the deal, guys. Most of you guys out there, I'm going to say like 80% of you guys out there who are hearing me, they think this is too much for them. They think, oh my God, I have no idea what this world is like. I am going to need help. And that's the kind of person that should be considering joining a program like Be Found. Because in the Be Found program, I give you specific advice and I teach you about these things in a very accessible way. I'm not assuming that I'm teaching web developers how to create a site. I'm assuming I'm teaching new entrepreneurs who want a great website how to identify what's good, what's bad, what they want, what they don't want, so they can turn around and tell someone else to build it and for that process to go really smoothly. That's why I'm recording this for you, because I want you to be ready for it. So if you are ready for the Be Found program, I want you to know I am going to start taking applications in April. I'm not taking applications right now. The whole machine will start in April. There's going to be a big blitz. There's going to be parties. There's going to be discounts. There's going to be bonuses, expiring bonuses. All of that stuff is happening in April. So I want you to stay tuned. And to stay tuned, well, number 1, keep listening to this podcast because I'm going to keep you up to date. Number 2, join the mailing list because those are the people who hear about this stuff first. So to join the mailing list, all you have to do is go to inacoveney.com/join, but you have to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. And that is where you go and download my salary replacement 1-year roadmap. Enjoy it. I love that guide. I did a whole training session on that. That was episode 81. I walked you through that entire guide. And then you're in my emails. So you can start hearing more and more about these bonuses and about these opportunities to work with me and these opportunities to get your website up and running by working with a developer and you being the expert. All right. Not to mention that in the program, this is where we walk through together how to do market research, how to get your ideal client avatar, how to get your framework, how to get your freebie done. We get your freebie done in that session, right? In that program. All right. You're going to walk out of there with a business ready to start. So if you're still thinking to yourself, I'm going to need help, but I really need to just sit down and try to figure this out, there's no need for you to do this alone. Get some expert help and join the program. I will see you in April. More a little bit later. I hope that this was helpful. If you like this, please give me your biggest takeaway down in the comments of this Facebook video. And if you're on the podcast, you can always just go to iTunes and leave me a review. It can be an honest review. It doesn't have to be a raving review. You can just say, you know what? that was okay. And give me as many stars as you want. Also, if you like this or if you think that there's somebody else that you know that needs to hear this, how to work with developers to create your entrepreneurial website, I want you to take a snapshot of this podcast episode, post it on your stories on Instagram, and tag me at Ina Coveney. Spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. And that way I can say thank you and see who's listening. I love doing that. All right, guys. That's all that I had for you today. More next week. Bye, everyone. Yay, thank you for watching. If you like that video, remember to subscribe right here to get notified of new episodes, and don't miss the podcast version, Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life. Go look it up and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye.